What if the blood group you learned years ago is quietly pointing toward the health pattern most likely to threaten you after 60? And what if knowing that weak point early could help you protect your heart, brain, stomach, and circulation before symptoms appear? I am Dr. Thomas Bennett, and I study prevention patterns in older adults every day. Today, I will explain this carefully. Not as fortune-telling, not as a blood type diet. You will learn what your type may reveal. That detail matters. Stay with me, because one 10-second record check near the end may change how you use this information. Welcome, and thank you for being here. Your blood type is not your destiny, and it does not diagnose disease, but it guides attention. Most people treat blood type like emergency trivia. They remember it from a donation card, a hospital bracelet, a military document, a pregnancy record, or something a parent told them decades ago. Then it sits there, unused, while they worry about cholesterol, blood pressure, sugar, memory, and longevity, as if everybody carries the same risk map. That is the missed clue. Blood type does not tell me how you will die. As a doctor, I would never say that, but it does tell me something important about biology. It is tied to the surface of red blood cells, immune recognition, clotting behavior, inflammation signals, and, in some research, differences in cardiovascular and stomach-related patterns. This is not superstition. It is risk association. That difference protects you from fear and from nonsense. After 60, small differences in biology become more meaningful because the body has less reserve. Blood vessels are not as flexible. Recovery is slower after poor sleep, stress, infection, dehydration, or a heavy meal. The stomach lining is less forgiving. Immune balance can shift. Inflammation lingers longer than it did at 40. Circulation to the brain, heart, kidneys, and legs becomes more important with every decade. So when we discuss blood group, we are not labeling people. We are sharpening prevention. Type O, type A, type B, and type AB. Each carry a different conversation. One may raise questions about clotting and cardiovascular monitoring. Another may point toward stomach or gut vigilance. Another may make immune and inflammation patterns worth watching more closely. Another may draw attention to blood flow, brain circulation, and cognitive aging. Again, this is not destiny. It is direction. That direction can help you ask smarter questions at your next checkup. It can help you understand why two people with the same age, diet, weight, and blood pressure still do not always age in the same way. It can also help you stop treating longevity advice like one generic checklist for everyone. Because your body is not generic. It never was. Many adults over 60 already know their blood group, yet have never heard a doctor explain why it may matter beyond transfusions. Others do not know it at all, even though it may be sitting quietly in an old medical record. That is why this conversation feels uncomfortable. It takes something familiar and makes it serious. But serious does not mean hopeless. The goal here is not to make you afraid of your letter. The goal is to show you where to pay attention earlier, while prevention still has room to work. If you are type O, you should not assume you are automatically protected. If you are type A, you should not panic. If you are type B, you should not ignore immune balance. If you are type AB, you should not wait for memory or circulation symptoms before asking better questions. Every type has a blind spot. Every type also has power. That power comes from monitoring daily decisions and conversations with your doctor. Blood pressure checks, glucose patterns, cholesterol, stomach symptoms, inflammation clues, sleep quality, smoking history, family history, unexplained fatigue. These are not dramatic things, but in preventive medicine, they often matter more than one heroic change made too late. And there is one extra detail most people forget. It is not only the letter. The plus or minus sign after your blood type, called the HA factor, is often ignored in everyday health conversations. I will not unpack it fully yet, because it deserves its own careful explanation. But I want you to notice it now. For some people, that small sign changes how they read old records, immune history, pregnancy history, and risk conversations with their doctor. So before we go further, do this now. Type your blood group in the comments, O, A, B, or AB. And if you know whether you are positive or negative, include that too. Knowing yours will make each section land differently, because this video is not about guessing your future. It is about protecting it earlier. If your blood group is O, the first mistake is thinking you are automatically protected, You may
This
have heard that
video
type
is
O
not
is linked
about
with a
guessing
lower
your
risk of certain
future.
clotting and heart
It is
patterns,
about
and that can sound
protecting it
comforting after 50.
earlier.
But comfort can become a blind spot when it makes you stop watching the system that may need the most attention. Type O blood does not carry A or B markers on the red blood cells. That simple fact matters in transfusion medicine, but it may also connect with differences in clotting proteins, inflammation, and how certain germs attach to tissue. This is not fortune telling. It is pattern recognition. The good news is real. Type O is often associated with lower levels of some clotting factors, and some research links type O with lower coronary heart disease risk compared with non-O types. That does not mean a type O person cannot have heart disease. Blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, cholesterol, sleep, and movement still matter more than a letter. But here is what many type O adults never hear. The hidden weak spot may be the stomach and gut lining. Several studies have linked type O with higher odds of H. pylori infection or peptic ulcer patterns. H. pylori is a bacteria that can live in the stomach lining for years, sometimes causing burning, bloating, iron problems, ulcers, or chronic irritation. If you add frequent pain pills, heavy stress, alcohol, smoking, or skipped meals, that stomach lining can become less forgiving with age. The mechanism is simple. A germ, an irritated lining, and repeated chemical stress can create a cycle of inflammation. The stomach tries to repair, but older tissue may recover more slowly. Then a person says, "It is just indigestion," while the deeper problem keeps returning. So if you are type O, do not use your heart-related advantage as permission to ignore your gut. Ask your doctor whether H. pylori testing makes sense if you have persistent stomach symptoms, ulcer history, unexplained iron deficiency, or long-term acid problems. Review ibuprofen, naproxen, aspirin, and other pain medicines with a qualified clinician, especially if you take them often. Protect the lining daily. Eat slowly. Include fiber-rich foods. Choose fermented foods only if you tolerate them, and use walking as a stress discharge after meals. Type O's lesson is not fear of the stomach. It is respect for the lining that protects you every day. If you are type O, you can type O below, not as a label, but as a reminder to watch the gut as carefully as the heart. How many adults over 60 wait until a health scare, a hospital visit, or a frightening test result before learning what their own blood type may have been trying to teach them for years? If this first lesson already made you see your blood group differently, subscribe right now so you can receive the next doctor-led senior health guidance as early as possible. These are the kinds of practical medical lessons that may help you protect not only yourself, but also your spouse, your family, and the friends who may still be ignoring early clues their body is quietly giving them. If your blood group is A, the danger is different. The trap for type A is not that you are fragile. The trap is that stress can look normal until the blood vessels start paying for it. Type A carries A markers on the red blood cells, and it belongs to the non-O family. That matters because non-O blood groups are often associated with higher levels of clotting-related proteins, including von Willebrand factor and factor VIII. In plain English, the blood may lean a little more towards stickiness than type O, especially when other risk factors pile on. The good news is that type A people are often very good at routines. When they understand a risk, they may track it, organize it, and improve it with consistency. That is a powerful advantage after 60, because prevention is rarely dramatic. It is usually repeated, but that strength has a reversal. A person who manages everyone else's needs may carry chronic tension for years and call it responsibility. The body does not always know the difference between emotional strain and physical threat. It responds through stress hormones, blood pressure changes, glucose changes, and tighter blood vessels. That is why stress control for type A should not be treated like a relaxation hobby. It can be cardiovascular protection. When cortisol and adrenaline stay high too often, the vessel lining can become less calm. Blood pressure may rise, sleep may weaken, blood sugar may drift upward. If clotting tendency, high blood pressure, inflammation, and poor sleep meet in the same body, risk becomes a stack instead of a single issue. The practical protocol is clear. Track blood pressure at home for 1 week every month. Unless your doctor gives you a different plan, ask whether homocysteine, B12, folate, and cardiovascular risk markers are relevant for you, especially if there is family history, stroke history, numbness, memory changes, or a restricted diet. Then build a daily nervous system reset that is too small to skip. 2 slow breaths before the first sip of coffee, a 10-minute walk after the most stressful meal, a phone-free wind down before bed. These are not magic tricks. They are signals of safety repeated until the body believes them. If you are type A, and this stress pattern feels familiar, type A below. Not for panic, for awareness. Type A's lesson is simple. Do not let a responsible life become an untreated vascular load. If your blood group is B, the risk map becomes more subtle. Type B is often misunderstood because it does not fit the clean story people want. It is not simply the heart group, the stomach group, or the stress group. Its lesson sits closer to immune calibration. Type B carries B markers on the red blood cells. Across populations, disease links with type B can be mixed, and no older adult should turn those links into a diagnosis. Still, the immune system reads surface markers, gut signals, infections, sleep, stress, and food patterns all day. With age, that reading system can become either well-tuned or chronically irritated. The good news is that type B may remind us of flexibility. The body is built to adapt to changing environments, different microbes, different foods, and different immune challenges. That adaptability matters because healthy aging is not about avoiding every trigger. It is about returning to balance after a trigger passes. But here is the dangerous reversal. Modern life gives the immune system too many false alarms. Ultra-processed foods, poor sleep, belly fat, gum disease, untreated infections, long sitting, and constant stress can keep inflammation humming in the background. At first, it may feel like normal aging. A knee aches. The hands feel stiff. The skin flares. The gut feels unpredictable. Fatigue arrives after meals. People shrug and say, "I am just getting older." Sometimes that is not just age. Sometimes it is an inflammatory baseline that has become your new normal. The mechanism is not mysterious. When the immune system keeps receiving irritation signals, it releases chemical messengers that affect blood vessels, joints, insulin sensitivity, mood, and recovery. C-reactive protein, often called CRP, is one marker doctors may use in certain situations to understand inflammation. It is not a perfect answer, but it can be one clue in the larger picture. For type B, the practical protocol is immune housekeeping. Reduce the foods that come in crinkly bags and replace them with meals your gut can recognize. Build plates around protein, plants, beans, oats, nuts, olive oil, or other whole food patterns you tolerate. Add moderate, sustained exercise, because the immune system often calms down when muscles move regularly. Do not dismiss repeated swelling, rashes, digestive changes, mouth ulcers, unusual fatigue, or joint pain as normal aging without discussion. Ask your doctor whether autoimmune screening, CRP, thyroid testing, gut evaluation, or medication review makes sense for your situation. If inflammation or immune symptoms were ever brushed off as age, remember this. Type B's lesson is not to fear immunity. It is to train immunity back toward balance. Now we come to AB, and this is where the map gets sharper. If you are AB, you carry both A and B markers. That makes you biologically uncommon, and it also makes your risk story more layered. You are not half A and half B in a simple way. You are a combined pattern, and after 60, combined patterns deserve careful attention. The good news is that AB has a special place in blood banking, especially with plasma compatibility. That can make the blood type sound almost privileged. But health risk is not the same as donation compatibility, and this is where many people get confused. The hidden vulnerability for AB is not one dramatic organ, it is circulation to the brain. Research has linked AB blood with higher incidence of cognitive impairment in one large prospective study, and non-O groups are also associated with higher clotting-related proteins. That does not mean AB causes dementia. It does mean that brain blood flow, small vessels, blood pressure, glucose, and clotting signals deserve earlier attention. This matters because cognitive decline usually does not begin on the day someone forgets a name. It often builds quietly through years of tiny vascular injuries. Poor sleep, insulin resistance, untreated blood pressure, low movement, and inflammation. The brain is soft, demanding tissue. It needs oxygen, glucose control, drainage, repair, and steady circulation. When small vessels stiffen or narrow, the brain may still work, but it works with less reserve. A person may notice slower recall, weaker focus, or mental fatigue and blame age alone. But sometimes the deeper issue is vascular maintenance. For AB adults, the protocol must be serious but calm. Know your blood pressure, not just at the doctor's office. Track A1C or fasting glucose if you have risk factors. Review cholesterol, sleep apnea symptoms, waist changes, smoking history, and family history. Ask before taking fish oil or blood-thinning supplements, especially if you already use aspirin, anticoagulants, or surgery as planned. Protect the brain at night. Sleep is when the brain performs much of its cleanup work, and poor sleep can worsen blood pressure, glucose control, appetite, and inflammation. Keep a regular sleep window, treat loud snoring seriously, and do not ignore morning headaches or daytime sleepiness. Then protect the brain by using it. Read aloud, learn names, practice balance, walk with attention, call someone and recall details. Cognitive engagement is not a guarantee, but it gives the brain a reason to keep building pathways. If this brain circulation connection helped you, type "it helped" below. Many older adults hear about memory only after fear begins, but prevention should start earlier. And now the delayed detail most people skip, the plus or minus sign. The H factor is the positive or negative part of your blood type. It refers to an inherited protein on the surface of red blood cells. If you are positive, the protein is present. If you are negative, it is absent. H-negative status is not a disease, and for most daily health decisions, it should not be exaggerated. But it still matters. It matters for transfusion safety, pregnancy history, medical records, emergency care, and complete blood identification. It also reminds us of a larger truth. Your full blood type is not only a letter, it is a profile. For many seniors, the danger is not ignorance of a rare disease. It is that their records are scattered. One clinic knows the blood type, another holds the medication list, and the family does not know either one during an urgent moment. A small card in your wallet, purse, or phone can connect those pieces before confusion begins. That is not anxiety. That is preparedness. Research on H factor and long-term disease patterns is still developing, so do not let anyone sell you fear from a plus or minus sign. Use it the practical way. Know it. Record it. Make sure your doctor has it. This is especially important for older adults who live alone, travel often, take blood thinners, have a history of anemia, or have ever needed surgery. In an emergency, clear information saves time. In a routine visit, clear information starts better questions. The plus or minus sign should not become a superstition, but it should not be missing from your personal health file either. Think of your blood type as the first line on a longer medical page. Below that line come your blood pressure, A1C, kidney function, cholesterol, medications, family history, sleep quality, stomach symptoms, and inflammation clues. One letter cannot explain your life, but one letter can help you organize the next question. Here is the 10-second tip. Before your next checkup, write your full blood type at the top of a card, including the plus or minus sign. Under it, write one focus line: O, stomach and gut; A, vessels and stress; B, inflammation and immunity; AB, brain circulation. Bring that card to your doctor and ask, which one of these should we watch first for me? That one question can turn a blood type from trivia into prevention. This is the real truth about longevity. Blood type does not tell you how you will die. It may tell you where to start paying attention before a small weakness becomes a late discovery. You have now walked through the 4 blood groups as 4 different prevention maps, not 4 fixed destinies. Type O taught us that a lower clotting or heart risk pattern should not make anyone ignore the stomach, H. pylori symptoms, ulcers, or repeated pain medicine use. Type A showed us why stress control can become vascular protection, especially when blood pressure, glucose, and clotting signals begin to stack. Type B reminded us that the immune system needs calibration before chronic inflammation starts feeling like normal aging. Type AB gave the strongest warning. Brain circulation deserves protection long before memory fear begins. And the RH factor completed the picture, because the plus or minus sign belongs in your medical record. So take a breath. This information is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to give shape to the risks you can discuss, track, and influence. Your blood type is not a sentence, it is a map, and a map only helps when you use it early. The real power is still in the daily choices between risk and outcome, food quality, blood pressure control, sleep, movement, stress regulation, inflammation control, medication review, and honest doctor conversations all help decide how that map unfolds. Start small. Learn your full blood type, write it down, choose one risk lane that fits your group, and bring one clear question to your next visit. That is how prevention becomes personal without becoming panic. If this helped you understand your body more clearly, share this video with a family member or friend who still thinks blood type is only useful in an emergency. Subscribe now so you can receive the next doctor-led senior health lesson as early as possible, especially practical guidance that may protect your family and the people you care about. And comment with your full blood type if you know it, and whether this profile matched your real-life experience. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep learning, keep asking better questions, and keep protecting the body that has carried you this far. I wish you steady health, clearer decisions, and a safer path forward.